we think like this life is all that we are striving for,
Yeah.
then that can easily turn to bitterness. I serve you all the time.
Mm.
I'm constantly picking up this or that. I am constantly washing your dirty dishes, washing your dirty clothes. It can so easily turn to bitterness. But when we remember that this is literally an area that we get to deposit all of these incredible blessings in heaven, we should be thankful for every way that we get to serve someone else.
Practicing every day, reminding yourself that your husband is not your source of joy.
Mm-hmm.
That while we can play together and have fun together and they can bring joy into our life, they are not the source of our joy.
Yeah.
Jesus and our relationship with him is our source of joy. That's where we get the joy and the peace that surpasses all understanding.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get that from the ebb and flow of another human being.
Yeah. And they can't ever live up to that. If your husband comes home and he says something and you go, ooh, that kind of hurt a little. That was offensive. You right then and there have the choice of whether you're going to let that offend you or whether you're going to say, I know that that was meant in a hurtful way. It may have been, it may not have been. But I'm going to choose to not let that offend me. This is Baylee.
And this is Kate.
And you're listening to Walking Defined.
Well, hi.
Hi.
I am so glad that you are here in the studio today.
Me too.
I have been bored out of my mind. I have been stir crazy. I'm 3 weeks into this broken leg. I just got my CT this week, and it turns out the fracture goes up into the joint, and so my restrictions are like amplified.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps that my husband is a fantastic restriction accountability partner. He's like, stop doing stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not someone who sits still well at all. So thank you for just being here to be my face to look at right now.
Yes.
I need this more than you know.
Oh, you have no idea how glad I am to be here. And the fact that we have gone from seeing each other like 4 times a week to maybe once.
Maybe once.
And yeah, that's been rough.
Yeah, me too. It's been rough on me too. It's not just you. Yeah, I am like, I don't think I've realized until this healing season how much I truly need and thrive on routine. Like, I've definitely said it to myself before, being like, you know, I need routine. Routine keeps me on track, whatever. But literally not being able to have the same routine in any regard is, I feel cuckoo. I feel a little nutso.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. The only thing I could compare it to is postpartum with Rossi. I made a vow that I was going to stay in bed for 2 weeks. And that was the longest 2 weeks of my entire life. It was so boring. And just like, I was itching to just get up and do something. I remember, I think it was 2 days before she came, I got this new mop. Like, it's a steam mop vacuum combination, and I was so excited to use it, and I'm laying in bed like just staring at it. I'm just like, I really want to get up and use you, but I can't. I just had to sit here.
I feel like that's definitely a mark of youth has left the building.
It's gone. It's gone.
I feel the same way. Yeah. So I have a rolling chair, an office chair that gets me through. My house is 3 levels. So getting around the main level, which is the kitchen and living room, I have this office chair, and I'm like wheeling way too fast, and like I'm going when I'm in it. And I figured out I can vacuum while I'm in the office chair. And so, yeah, I feel like a whole person in whatever regard I can be a whole person right now. ridiculous.
That's
But
hilarious.
yes, that's a really good segue, because I had thought about, and you had mentioned that a conversation around fun with our spouses, around competition with our spouses, around things of that nature. God pressed that onto my heart after the last episode, and I'm so grateful He did for you too, because I have an opening question for you.
Okay.
At what point, what activity, what environment, what are you experiencing when you are having the most fun with Chad?
Oh my goodness. Man, he tells the most fantastic stories. He's the best storyteller. And so when he tells me funny stories and we can just sit there and laugh, and then also watching our kids and they do some of the funniest things. I actually have to tell this story. So this week, my husband's boss drove by our house up to the barn, and he was up there for a really long time. And so our boys, they love to like sit by the road and wave at him as he goes by. And so Chad told them that they could sit at the end of our driveway, right by the road where he would drive by, but they weren't to go any further. They couldn't go down to like any barns or anything. They had to just sit right there. So they sat there for a really long time. Well, then dinner was ready. So Chad was like, sorry, guys, you're going to have to come in. We're going to eat dinner. And while we were eating dinner, Chad just mentioned, just kind of joking. He was like, I wonder if Troy died up there. Like totally just joking.
Yeah.
And so after we got done eating, Chad and Brim went up to check on Troy. And Conway and Fallon weren't done eating yet, so they had to stay behind. Well, after they got finished, they went over to the window and they were watching Chad and Brim walk up the hill to the barn. And Conway just under his breath, I'm like, I don't even remember what I was doing, but I was just kind of like in the other room so I could hear them talk. And Conway goes, I wish I could go up and see Troy with Dad and Brim. And Fallon looks at him and she goes, he's dead.
Oh my goodness.
When Chad got back, so this is the second element of how funny this was. When Chad got back, he told me, so as they were walking up the hill to go check on Troy, Brim goes, why did you make us stay there for so long? And Chad goes, well, you were waiting for Troy. And Brim goes, but Troy drove by like 20 minutes before that. So he wasn't even up there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they do the funniest things. And so they provide a lot of material for laughter if you're looking for it.
Yes.
Yes. So I would say some of the like core memories of our marriage is us just sitting around and like talking and listening to stories and just laughing.
Yeah.
We also, this is kind of not the best habit that we have, but sometimes we will sit on the couch and Chad will go through Instagram reels and we just like for some reason his algorithm just shows him all the funniest videos.
Yeah.
And so we just sit there and we just watch videos and laugh. And
I think that's a healthy activity when you're doing it together.
Yeah.
I think when it's, separating and isolating you from your family and the world, not so much, but something to bond over, amazing.
Yes.
I love that.
And then the other thing that we really love to watch is, have you ever heard of Dry Bar Comedy on YouTube?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Some of those comedians are just the funniest and they're clean. Yeah. So you're not like waiting for, an F word to come out of their mouth or like cringing. It's just, that's the most fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the reason why I married Nate is because we have so much fun together.
Yeah.
He is my best friend through and through. And I mean, I have learned from my parents that laughing together and playing together and just being silly and not taking life so seriously is required in order to have a healthy relationship. While fighting is healthy or arguing, however you want to deem it, and, communicating and all the things and making sure you're on the same page, having an equal element of play and fun and laughter is so crucial to a healthy relationship. And Nathan makes me laugh like no other. Sometimes it's not intentional. But he also is a wonderful person to be able to laugh at himself, and I try to do that as well. Another not taking life so serious, but he is also like he's the funniest person I've ever met. And most people don't get to see that side of him because he's like kind of a slow to warm up. But once you get to know him, sometimes he'll say some things and you're just like, what? Who are you? Yeah, he's hilarious.
We really need Nate and Chad to just hit it off here real soon, because I think that they together would just be the match made in heaven.
Yes.
They would just be so much fun.
Yes.
Because Chad is hilarious as well.
He definitely has a silly side too. I got to see that when we were camping, because I know Chad from church and from us sitting together to talk about God, and from, him gathering the kids together when we're trying to start our Bible study. Like his roles, he's really in his roles when I am interacting with him, and he doesn't get to just like kind of let loose a little bit.
Yeah.
And so seeing him camping, he just caught a wild hair and he was dancing and he was singing and he had an accent, and he was just making me laugh so hard because I was just like, who are you? This is amazing.
So funny.
Yes.
Both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. We are married to some silly men.
We are. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
it's the best.
Yes. Well, I know that you're pretty competitive.
Yes.
I'm too. There's like certain games that Nate and I won't play because like we love catchphrase so much. We cannot be on the same team.
Yeah.
For catchphrase because I am not very kind.
Yeah.
When he doesn't get things right.
This.
I'm looking at him like,
what this is. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So competition can definitely be unhealthy when we take it too far.
Yeah.
But there's an aspect to competition that's super healthy. So when do you see a competitive spirit working in your relationship for good?
Yeah. So I have to just address something that is really funny. When Chad and I first got married, we used to play the game Penta. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
No.
It's basically like it's a board and you're trying to get like 5 in a row. And there's, different rules that you can, get certain points and whatnot. So it's kind of complicated, but he has played it his entire life. And so I was just learning how to play it. Well, he's the type that will definitely rub it in your face if you don't get it right.
Yeah.
And I would get so mad. So we ended up not being able to play that anymore. We were like, okay, we're going to put this one away and we'll come back to it.
Yes.
But I would definitely say that where competition has been probably the most healthy is trying to outserve one another in marriage.
That's beautiful.
And, I've definitely seen areas where I'm not always the best at this, but to just think of every chore that I get to do as service to my husband is like probably the best place that competition could come out in.
Now, I think it's important, and I'd like your insight. Where do you draw the line in your mind in playing a comparison game in that?
Like,
of
I have
one-upping each other in
you
service.
so well this week, and you are not doing.
Where bitterness starts to creep in because you feel like I'm doing it better than you, and you're not stepping up.
See, and so recently, I have really had to remind myself where the reward is. Because I think if we are completely worldly minded and we think like this life is all that we are striving for, then that can easily turn to bitterness. Like, I serve you all the time. I am constantly picking up this or that. I am constantly washing your dirty dishes, washing your dirty clothes, like all the things that we do. It can so easily turn to bitterness. But when we remember that this is literally an area that we get to deposit all of these incredible blessings in heaven. We should be thankful for every way that we get to serve someone else.
Yeah.
And so I have actually had to remind myself several times, even this week, to recenter my mind in the blessing of getting the opportunity to serve my family and where I'm storing those treasures up. And that's a game changer mind shift.
Yeah.
When you're able to just keep that in mind, like, okay, this life is maybe 80 years, but then we have an eternity, which is not, I don't think that that's even something we can wrap our minds around, right?
No, I don't think so.
So eternity, forever, we will get to live with the blessings that we are storing up from this short 80 years here on earth.
Talk about reward.
Like, wow, that can shift everything into thankfulness from bitterness.
Yeah, absolutely. I chuckled under my breath when you were talking about, the difficulties of serving, because I think this definitely leads into this piece of the conversation and talking about lightness. We all have pet peeves.
Yeah.
And our spouses get under our skin.
Yeah.
If you've been married more than 5 minutes, it's the case. And I am someone, so like I wasn't a super cleanly person growing up. My mom can definitely attest to this, and she's probably screaming at listening to this right now. No, you were not. I was a pretty messy kid. My mom was incredibly orderly. Not just tidy, but orderly. Like things had a place, they had a home, and if it wasn't in that home, the world wasn't right. It's how she maintained order in her life, was her environment. And I did not realize I would be that way until I just was. And I cannot stand dishes in my sink because we have a working dishwasher, and there's only 2 of us. So we run a load of dishes once a week. Like it's a pretty slow and easy cycle, right? And jokingly, I had to tell Nate this week, and I think this is the important piece of how to approach conflict in a way that is not coming off disrespectful. I said, "Can I just confess something to you?" Because we were also in a joking mood. I picked a appropriate timing. I didn't come at him during the middle of an argument. And he said, "Ugh, what?" Just joking. And I said, it really kind of gets under my skin seeing dishes in the sink when the dishwasher has room. And he's like, "Well, those are yours." And we both start laughing because we both know that they're not. And it transitioned this thing that had been kind of not eating at me, but something that had been bothering me a bit. And I could have easily let that like fester and sit until we were in the middle of something that was in frustration, and then say, "And also you do this,"
Yeah.
But instead, it was such more productive and respectful conversation to exchange it, not in snarkiness, but just in a moment of lightness, and then also to let it go.
Yeah.
And just be like, it was said and it's whatever.
Yeah.
But in the same fold, what you're saying about serving each other like that, I find myself thinking more and more when I'm thinking soberly that if I have to do this one thing because it's the way I want it done, then so be it. It's the way I want it done. It's my problem. I don't need to make this problem his problem. It's the way I like it done, so I'll just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Or I can just choose not to
let it bother you.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much more joy to be had when you're not bickering over all the things. And I mean, my husband and we don't get to see each other very often in this season. It's really hard on me because I think I've been trying to figure out what is my love language. I think quality time is up in there for sure. And I feel my spirit like dwindling when I don't get good quality time with him. And it's few and far between nowadays. So we kind of have this unspoken pact when we're both thinking soberly that like, we don't have enough time together to fight about anything.
To let the small things bother you.
And it's also a posture of heart of making sure that it isn't actually festering into a place of bitterness, that I'm actually letting things go and just saying, is this worth, like in the Respect book, he says, is what I'm about to say going to come off disrespectful? And is what I'm about to talk about worth losing this joyful moment over, or what a potentially joyful moment could be, because I've got this one thing on my brain that's kind of bothering me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love the idea, and like I said, I'm not always perfect at it, but love the idea of bringing issues to light through like humor, because there is, not in a snarky way, because I think that does more harm than good.
Yeah.
It's not like we're being
malicious.
Yeah. It's more in like, so for instance, my husband used to snore really bad, which I don't even know why. He's a very thin man. He doesn't have any weight issues or anything like that. But he used to snore really bad. I don't know if it was the house that we were in or what. But I told him in the morning, I said, I need to confess something to you. And he said, what? And I said, I killed you last night in my heart about 4 times because you were snoring in my ear.
That's hilarious.
Can you please sleep on your belly or your side?
That's hilarious.
And so just like bringing those issues to light in a way, I mean, there's not really a lot he could do about it, but I just wanted him to know that like, this is really bothering me because I can't sleep.
Yeah.
But not like letting those things like continue to build up and build up and build up, because I think that we as married people tend to let things build, and the pressure builds until it's just this volcano of emotions.
Yeah, it's always bubbling right here.
Yeah, and most of the time, which is something that he actually says in the book, that the issue isn't actually the issue.
Yeah.
And that sometimes when those things are compounding and compounding, and this like tension is just building and building, and then finally it erupts, then it's all of this material from who knows how long that's built up, and then it just spills over, and you're fighting about this issue, and then you're fighting about that issue and this issue, and it just continues to build and build and build, and then it's spilling over, and you're looking at it going, I don't even know exactly what I'm mad about in this moment.
I'm just mad.
There's just like all this built up
Absolutely.
energy.
Yeah. I think such an important piece of that is practicing every day, reminding yourself that your husband is not your source of joy. That while we can play together and have fun together, and they can bring joy into our life, they are not the source of our joy.
Yeah.
Jesus and our relationship with him is our source of joy. That's where we get the joy and the peace that surpasses all understanding. We don't get that from the ebb and flow of another human being.
Yeah. And they can't ever live up to that.
No, not at all. Yeah. I've definitely had seasons where I've forgotten that and relied on Nate to be my source of joy, of peace, of entertainment, whatever.
Yeah.
And it never ends well, because they'll always fall short. And it's not because they're not capable, they're not good. It's just because that's never supposed to be the the fulfillment of those pieces. God is.
Yeah. Have you ever had those occasions that you're really looking forward to, and you're like, you kind of have this thought in your head of like, this is how tonight's gonna go, and this is gonna be amazing. And then they come home maybe in a bad mood, and it all falls short. And it's because of these expectations that you had laid out for them that they were unaware of. They had no idea that that's how they were supposed to act.
And how unfair.
It is. Yes.
Yeah. I was just thinking that. As soon as you started saying that, I was like, expectations. Let's talk about expectations.
Yes.
Because I think as women, we have very high expectations for ourselves, for our spouses, for our children, for our work, for our community. And being let down is a huge source of bitterness. So how do you combat that? What do you think are some practical tools for not falling into that trap?
Yeah, so I think that number one, above all else, and I don't perfectly do this either, and so I'm preaching to myself, but I think filling ourselves each and every day with the source of life is truly the key to having uninterruptible joy.
Yeah.
The other thing, this is an amazing book that I've read. It's called Unoffendable, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that book.
Oh my gosh. But being offended is a choice. And we can choose to just not. We really can. You don't have to be offended. People can try to offend you. You don't have to choose to partake in that.
You know what's amazing? There are people who are listening right now who just rolled their eyes.
Yeah.
And just got offended by that.
Right. Yes. But it's incredible to recognize that fact, that everything that I feel is my choice of whether I have to feel it or not. And so when I read that book, and I probably need to read it again, that translates into every relationship that we have on this earth, including our marriage.
Yep.
And so if your husband comes home and he says something and you go, ooh, that kind of hurt a little, that was offensive, you right then and there have the choice of whether you're going to let that offend you or whether you're going to say, I know that was meant in a hurtful way. It may have been, it may not have been. But I'm going to choose to not let that offend me. And I think that that's something as a young wife, first in the very beginning of our marriage, I felt like I had the right to be offended. I think that's the best way to explain the way that I felt. Because I feel like Chad and I kind of got into arguments all the time. And most of the time, it was my fault. I will own that 100%. Because I would choose to, instead of just saying, okay, I know that today was a rough day for him, or I know that this or that happened, I know that I didn't do this or that well today, whatever it may be, instead of taking the whole situation into context and realizing that this is why this is happening or this is why he reacted this way, I would just take all of that offense on myself.
Yeah. I struggle too with taking things personal. It's something I've heard my husband say to me in pieces of arguments where I've definitely been in the wrong. I have taken something too far. he'll ask me as gently as he can, and it's still not received well, which is all the more proof that I'm taking it personal. Is it possible that you're taking this personal right now? And when you're taking something personal, you hate hearing that.
Yeah.
Because it definitely hits home a little too hard, but it's so true. And I think that's a huge struggle for women and for wives of taking things personal.
Mm-hmm.
Men, I don't think, are as inclined to lean that way, to hear something and their blue hearing aids, as we've talked about, receive it in a way that says, this is about me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that says something about a woman's heart.
Yes.
And how we have to practice that much harder in being selfless and seeing things through others' eyes in that conversation, so that it's not being received and us flipping it in our brain and saying, this is about me now.
Right. Well, and I'm about to say something, trigger alert. I'm about to say something very controversial, but this is addressing sin that I know to be true in myself. I can also be very manipulative. And so
You're not
when
alone.
I know that I have done something wrong, or that I am not living up to a certain expectation that my husband might have, I can be very quick to manipulate that into, this is a you problem, and make him feel bad for pointing that out in me. And that's a sin issue in myself. Like, I will take full responsibility for that. But I wonder how many arguments in marriage wives know that they are responsible for in being manipulative.
I can't even count how many has been the case for me, and exactly what you're saying. And I've talked about this with Nate. I think you see it amplified in girls who are in their teenage years.
Yeah.
We are incredibly manipulative.
It's a superpower.
Yeah. Nate and I have talked about this because we've talked about how that jades men to believing women at their word.
Yeah.
Because from early stages of getting to know women as teenagers, they learn very quickly that women are manipulative. And there's some serious confession in all of our hearts that needs to happen there, because our husbands aren't the only recipient of that. I think we could soberly and honestly look back at every encounter with another man and see that being the case. And that makes me so sad to think that I had an influence of jading any man's heart when they were to finally meet with their wife, in having reservations and thinking women are manipulative, so therefore I can't trust what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
That hurts.
It does. And it just addresses, we're not pointing fingers at any one woman.
We're pointing fingers at each other, if anything.
It's a sin issue that we must confront with the most hurt in our heart, because that hurts God's heart.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's something that needs to change. That needs to not be a thing in our marriage, where we use, whether it be tears, whether it be just turning it all back on a man and saying, but you're so mean. My husband is a very kind man, and it hurts him when I'm hurt. He cares. And I think so easily I can weaponize that. So easily. And say, okay, well, I know that you care about me, and I know that you don't want to hurt me. So, I can easily manipulate his feelings into feeling like he's the problem.
I think there's a level of that too, where we start to believe ourselves that they are intending to be mean.
Mm-hmm.
And we start to believe the lie that we've been saying out loud that you don't care about me.
Yeah.
And we have to going back to gratitude, like we talked about in the last episode, it's such a huge tool because when we sit with the truth of who our men are, we can't have an honest thought saying they're a mean-spirited person.
Yeah,
we
that
know
they
that
don't
to be
care.
untruth. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have to sit with the truth of who they are and regularly make a habit of bringing up what we're grateful for in their character, not just what they do. So that way we can combat those thoughts when they come in and we're trying to believe the lie we already know to be a lie, that you're doing this because you want to be mean to me.
Yeah.
We are hearing things and seeing things through a woman's lens.
Mm-hmm.
Men have a different language, like we've talked about in our prior episodes, and we'll preach to the end to read the Love and Respect book because this talks about it so much better than even we can. We have to learn how to decode that and also to be able to not believe those lies.
Yeah.
That there's
and
truth in them being bad people.
Right. Yeah. And it's not to say that it's always a cognizant thing.
Mm.
Like the manipulation in women, it's not always like a decision.
No.
Like I'm trying to manipulate you.
No.
And there is serious hurt at times too. So I'm not saying that every time that a man feels bad for what he said, it's because a woman has manipulated him into feeling that way. Men have done things at times that really hurt our feelings. So they're not in the clear either.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying there are definitely times that I can attest to my husband says or calls me out on something that I know to be true, and I make him feel bad for saying something about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done the same thing. Absolutely. Yeah. I can completely confess that. This is something Nate and I have talked about manipulation. I confessed to him in the early part of our dating that I learned very early on how to cry on command. It is not something that I do anymore. Is it a tool? I'm using air quotes here for our audio listeners. Was it a tool that I used to lean a conversation towards me winning or whatever you want to call it? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do I do it now? No, because I'm practicing healthy communication in my relationship with my husband. But he, even knowing that, becomes jaded to what could be truth in that situation because he's like, are these realtors or are they not? And I've confessed to him and told him time and time again, this is not something I do anymore. That was something that I'm confessing to you that was a sin that I did before.
Right.
But that just goes to show how much it's ingrained in us by our culture that women can more often be the victim of a communication pitfall than a man.
Yeah.
And I think that switch needs to be flipped.
For sure.
Because we wrong them so many times. Who are we to say they're always in the wrong? That's such a lie.
Yes. And that kind of comes back to the whole respect thing. If a man feels like he is always the one that's in the wrong, and we can easily make him feel that way through the manipulation, if he feels that he is always in the wrong, he begins to believe the lie that he is a bad man.
Yeah.
And my husband and I have actually run into this issue at times in our marriage too, where he's like, I just feel like I don't treat you well.
Mm.
And I've had to turn around and be like, no, you treat me great. It's just this issue that we're dealing with. Like, this is just the one thing. And so it has to be something, which I was listening to on the way here, when you're trying to resolve conflict with your husband. It was actually Emerson Eggerich that wrote the Love and Respect book. He said, you need to appeal to his honor in the sense that you build him up by saying, I know that you're a good man. I know that you can do better than what you're doing. I know that to be true. Then you call out the issue.
Respectfully. Yes.
But this is not an honorable thing that I'm seeing. So I know that you can do better. I know for sure you can do better. And we don't say that in like a mom way. It's not like we're saying, do better.
I'm very disappointed in you.
Right. But that is the way that other men would call out that same thing in a man.
Yeah.
They would say, you're a good man. I know that you can do better.
Yeah.
And so that's what a man is looking for, not just the constant, I'm so disappointed. Like,
you did this again. You did that again.
Yeah, you hurt my feelings. Like, all the things that we can tend to make them feel. And it's not healthy for them either, because they start to believe that same lie.
Yeah.
The enemy can so easily use our voices to implant that lie in their head that they're just not a good man.
Yeah. Men will say it themselves. They're not mind readers.
Yeah.
So if we really take time to reflect on what speech is coming out of our mouth to our husband consistently and majorly, we will have a clear understanding of what they perceive is our thought of them, because that's all that they can perceive. They don't know our thoughts. We may have 90% of our thoughts throughout the day, how much we love them and how grateful we are of them, but if we don't speak those things more often than the correction or gentle guidance that we're trying to give, even when it's respectful, they're not going to hear our heart. So we have to have a reflection period and continually ask ourselves, how am I speaking to him? When was the last time you said that you were grateful for this, that, the other? Even if it's the same thing over and over every day that he's always done. Thank you so much for taking out the trash today.
Right.
If you see kind of a spark lit in him and his face light up, you will realize how unthankful you have vocally been.
Yeah. Well, and I've thought about it too. How often when we have a friend come over, if they wash the dish that was in the sink, or if they, do something that our husbands probably do all the time, how often are we like, oh my goodness, or oh my goodness, thank you so much for doing that. But we never say that to our husband, because it's just expected that they live in this house too. They should just be able to pick up after themselves, or just clean that dish, or whatever it might be. A thank you goes so far.
Yeah.
And we aren't even giving our husbands the same thanks that we would a stranger in our home, right? And I have seen this even played out recently. I've been trying to thank my husband whenever he does anything. And not only does that kind of put a little marker in my own heart of like, he does this and this and this and this. He does so much around my home. But it also gives him the thanks that he needs to keep doing that, to feel like I am grateful for him.
Yeah.
And it's showing the gratitude to your spouse.
I think that's the difference there, is the genuineness of the heart in those thanks. Because it would be one thing if you were just performatively thanking at every gesture. And for wives who are really struggling, who are not in a great place with their marriage, that may be the first step.
Yeah. Oftentimes it is. And I think that your heart just follows what your actions are doing.
Exactly. But the transformation piece that speaks into them and then speaks to us and transitions our heart to a truly grateful heart and turns bitterness into gratitude is when those are said with full gratefulness, with true gratitude, instead of doing it just because it's supposed to be done. It's just saying it because you know that you need to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you could start there. I don't want to discredit someone who is just trying to move towards a better relationship and trying to take steps that we've talked about by doing them for the sake of doing them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the true transformation you may be looking for is when that gratitude is truly gratitude being spoken into existence and into your person.
Yeah. Well, and for those that are maybe just starting out and they're, on the backside of a rough relationship, start with looking for 3 things. 3 things
Mm-hmm.
that you can say thank you for genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
Say thank you to your husband for in a day. And then do it again tomorrow. And then do it again the next day. 3 things. That's easy.
Yeah.
It could be something as simple as closing the cupboard doors. Like, there are things that you can praise your spouse for.
Mm-hmm.
The smallest or the biggest. It will make a huge difference to hear you say thank you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that as these pieces are coming into play and we're truly living out the grateful heart, that's when we can really get to a place of being playful together and truly enjoying each other's company. Because when you're with someone that you can tell is not grateful to be around you or is just not a grateful person in general, I highly doubt you will experience fun with that person.
Yeah.
So we can lead by example in this way, and we can be the thermostat of our homes, like you have said, and truly let the Lord be our source of joy and peace and do things unto him so that our husbands are the recipient of what God is working in our hearts, not the source of what we want to happen in our lives.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, and the source of that is filling ourselves with the Holy Spirit because he is life. He is truth. He is joy. He's all the things that we want to be for our families. And if we're not filling ourselves with him, we are lacking.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you want to pray us out today?
Yeah.
Would you specifically pray for the wife who doesn't even remember the last time that they felt like they had laughed with their husband the way they truly desire to joyfully laugh with them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Lord, thank you so much for this conversation and just being able to call out sins, call out the source of joy, which is you. Lord, thank you for just filling us up with your wisdom and just speaking into this conversation. Lord, we have no wisdom outside of you, and so we need you here, and we thank you for being here. Lord, I pray for any woman listening to this. I pray for their marriages. And I pray that you would touch and heal the spots that feel too broken to even be resolved.
Yes,
Lord, there are so much hurt in marriage at times. And I pray for any woman listening to this who has a bad taste in her mouth about marriage. I pray that you would touch her, heal her, and Lord, open her up to the possibilities that only you can do in her marriage. Lord, you can heal the brokenhearted. You can transform anyone. And so, Lord, those women who are listening to this conversation and going, well, that's great for them. I'm so glad that they have blessed marriages, but that will never be mine. Lord, break off that lie.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true. You can heal any brokenness. And so, Lord, I pray that you would give that woman hope and that she would also see the areas that she can change in her marriage, that she can speak life into her marriage, that she can find true joy outside of her marriage and bring that joy into her marriage. No matter how hard it feels like it might be, Lord, you are with her and you can overcome any challenge. So I just pray for your spirit to be with this woman and that you would just speak your truth into her soul. We love you, Lord. We praise you for this time. And until next week, I pray that everyone listening would be blessed.
Yes,
In your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you again for being a bright spot in a boring week for me. I hope that we can be that for anyone listening as well. I hope today's conversation was a little more lively than some of the serious ones we've had over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I hope you tune in next week.
We love you guys.
Love you guys. Love you.
Love you.
See you next week.